Every single morning, Ram owners across the country are doing something to their engine that is silently shortening its life. They do not know it is happening. The truck does not tell them. There is no warning light, no noise, no smoke. Just slow, invisible damage building up every cold start, every morning, until one day a lifter ticks, a bearing spins, or the engine throws a code that costs $3,000 to fix. And here is the worst part. Most of these guys think they are being careful. They think they are doing it right. Today I am going to show you exactly what happens inside your Ram engine during a cold start, which habits are destroying it from the inside out, and what you should be doing instead. Every fix on this list costs nothing. The repairs they prevent will cost you thousands. Let's get into it. Bomb visual, engine diagram, oil flow, animation, or cold engine B-roll. Before we get into the mistakes, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your engine the moment you turn that key. When your Ram sits overnight, all the oil drains down. It settles at the bottom of the engine in the oil pan. The upper end of the engine, the lifters, the camshaft, the cam journals, the rocker arms, they are sitting dry. There is nothing up there, just metal on metal, waiting. The moment you start the engine, the oil pump kicks on and begins pushing oil up through the block. On a Hemi, that is a long path. The pump is at the bottom, the lifters are at the top. The oil has to travel through narrow passages, through the galleries, up through the cylinder heads, before it reaches those critical components. At idle, with cold, thick oil, that journey takes anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds, maybe longer on a cold day when the oil is even more viscous. During that window, your engine is running with almost zero lubrication at the top end. The components that need oil the most, the lifters, the cam lobes, the valve train, are running dry. Now, here is where most people make the mistake that destroys their engine. You start the truck, back out of the driveway, drop it into drive, and give it throttle. Maybe you are late. Maybe it is just habit. Maybe you figure it is a truck. It can handle it. But during those first 30 to 60 seconds, you just put load on an engine that has no oil at the top end yet. The Hemi's lifters are already the most failure-prone component on the entire engine. Ram issued a technical service bulletin, TSB09-00-1-14, specifically addressing lifter failures on the 5.7 Hemi. The number one contributing factor identified was insufficient lubrication during cold starts and warm-up. This is not a theory. Ram's own engineers documented it. When you load a cold engine before oil pressure builds, you are compressing months of normal wear into seconds. Cold metal has tighter tolerances. Oil is thick and slow. The lifter bores are at their absolute most vulnerable, and you are asking them to handle full throttle loads before a single drop of oil has reached them. The symptom you will notice first is a lifter tick on cold starts, a faint tapping that goes away after a minute or two. Most owners ignore it. By the time it gets worse and stays, the damage is already done. Lifter replacement on a 5.7 Hemi is not a simple job. Depending on your shop and location, you are looking at $1,500 to $3,500 in labor alone. The fix is free and takes 60 seconds. Start the truck, let it sit at idle for 30 to 60 seconds. That is all. You do not need 10 minutes. You do not need a full warm-up cycle. Just 60 seconds for oil pressure to build and oil to reach the top of the engine. Then, pull out of the driveway slowly. Keep it under 2,000 revolutions per minute for the first 2 to 3 minutes of driving. Light throttle, low load, easy acceleration until the temperature gauge starts climbing off the cold peg. That is it. 60 seconds and a light foot for 2 minutes. That habit, done consistently, is the difference between a Hemi that goes 250,000 miles and one that needs a valve train rebuild at 80,000. And this one surprises people because it feels responsible. You hit remote start from inside the house, let the truck warm up while you finish your coffee, and walk out to a toasty cab and a warmed-up engine. What could be wrong with that? Here is the problem. Letting your Ram sit at extended idle does not warm the engine up the way most people think. At idle, the engine never reaches the RPM range needed to fully circulate oil through every gallery and passage. The temperature gauge might creep toward normal, but the cylinder walls, the piston rings, and the upper valve train are not reaching true operating temperature. They are sitting in a lukewarm, oil-starved limbo. On top of that, extended idling causes fuel dilution. When a cold engine idles for a long time, Small amounts of unburned fuel wash past the piston rings and into the oil. You cannot see it, you cannot smell it, but it is thinning your oil, breaking down its additive package, and reducing its ability to protect your engine for the rest of that oil change interval. Extended cold idling also accelerates carbon buildup. The 5.7 Hemi runs direct injection on newer models, which already creates carbon deposits on the intake valves without the fuel washing effect of port injection. Long idle sessions at low RPM make that buildup significantly worse. Over time, you get rough idle, misfires, and reduced fuel economy, all from trying to be careful. The right approach: 30 to 60 seconds of idle, then drive away gently. The engine warms up faster under light load than it ever will sitting still in your driveway. You get proper oil circulation, you avoid fuel dilution, and you are not burning fuel sitting still, accomplishing nothing. This one gets people on the morning commute. You start the truck, do your 60-second idle, pull out of the neighborhood, get onto the on-ramp, and merge into highway traffic at 70 miles per hour. Engine still cold, temperature gauge still at the bottom. Even if you warmed it up at idle first, the engine is not ready for a full throttle on-ramp acceleration before the temperature gauge moves. Highway speed means high RPM, high load, and high heat generation. Your coolant system, your oil viscosity, and your piston ring seal all need the engine at operating temperature to work correctly. Piston rings do not fully seat until the engine reaches operating temperature. Running hard on a cold engine increases blowby, which is combustion gases passing the piston rings and entering the crankcase. That contaminates your oil and accelerates wear on the cylinder walls. The rule is simple: no hard acceleration, no on-ramp pulls, no towing, and no extended high RPM driving until that temperature gauge has moved off the cold peg and is climbing toward the center. On a moderate day, that takes 3 to 5 minutes of gentle driving. On a cold winter morning, it may take a bit longer. Wait for the gauge. It is telling you exactly when the engine is ready. The thing about cold start damage is that it is cumulative. You will not blow your engine tomorrow morning because you gave it too much throttle on a cold start today. The damage stacks over months and years of the same habit repeated every single morning. What you will see first is that cold start lifter tick that takes longer and longer to disappear each morning. Then it stops disappearing. Then it is there all the time. Then a cylinder drops out. Then the check engine light comes on with a cylinder misfire code. By that point, you are looking at a full valve train teardown. The 5.7 Hemi has a documented weakness in the lifter and cam area. Thousands of owners have dealt with this failure. The ones who pay attention to cold start procedure consistently avoid it. The ones who do not are the repeat customers at the dealership, back every few years with the same engine complaint. Your habits during the first 2 minutes of every drive determine how long this engine lasts, more than almost anything else you do. Yes, the Ram 5.7 Hemi and the Cummins diesel are both engines with proven long-term reliability. There are trucks with these engines sitting at 250,000, 300,000, even 400,000 miles with no major repairs. But every single one of those high-mileage trucks had an owner who respected the cold start. No hard pulls, no extended idling, no cold highway runs, just 60 seconds and a light flirt until the engine was ready. Every fix in this video costs exactly nothing. The repairs they prevent will cost you thousands. If this was useful, subscribe. I put out Ram maintenance and reliability content every week so you can keep your truck on the road and out of the shop. And if you want to go deeper, I made a full video covering the exact factory settings ROM enables on every truck by default that are quietly destroying your engine right now. That video is on screen. I'll see you there.